So right now there is a complete open vacuum. There are no drugs, no antibodies, nothing. So NV387 is basically a very good potential opportunity for the world to take it forward.
All right, welcome back inside our proactive newsroom. And joining me now is Dr. Anil Dewan. He is the CEO of Nanovericides. And Dr. Dewan, good to see you again. How are you?
I'm fine and good to see you too.
Yeah, so really interesting news out for the World Health Organization about monkeypox. We'll talk about that in just a second, but this relates into your drug, NV387. And let's remind everyone a little bit about that drug, and more importantly, the fact that it has a number of potential different uses for it as well.
Right. So NV387 is a host mimetic, which means that it copies some feature from your body's cells themselves. And because of that, the viruses cannot escape it. Now, that's how the drug was developed, which is very different from any other drug or modality that you see in the world for attacking viruses. Like vaccines, antibodies, small chemicals, they all become ineffective at some point because the virus drifts away. That is highly unlikely with NV387. That's how it was designed. It was designed to be broad spectrum because that particular feature that we copied is called sulfated proteoglycan feature, and it is used by more than 90% of viruses for initial attachment to the cells, and then eventually they enter the cells. So by blocking that, now we have something that can go after, let's say, possibly 90%, and maybe not strongly clinically effective against 90%, but a large portion of viruses that attack humans. Right.
Okay.
So we tested it against coronaviruses. You have seen those data. We have gone into clinical trials, and we have successfully completed phase 1 in healthy subjects. We have tested against RSV. We actually cured RSV in mice. No other drug has done that. So that's another important thing. And we also tested against influenza, where it was substantially superior to three main used drugs in the industry against influenza. So that again is telling you about the high potency, high ability, and strong effectiveness of this drug. We also tested it, as you talked about Mpox. We are coming to Mpox now. So what happened is in 2022, during the Mpox epidemic that happened around the world, which was clade 2, and it was not a very strong virus in terms of pathogenicity. At that time, we decided we'll try it against those also, because smallpox viruses, orthopox viruses, they all use sulfated proteoglycans as well, although those are much more complicated viruses. No. So we developed two different animal models, and we had finished the testing in two different animal models. One was for dermal abrasion, which is exactly how Mpox is supposed to transmit currently. And the other one was for direct lung infection of the virus, which is how it might happen in a bioterrorism attack, which is of interest to United States agencies, as you know. So we tried both of those models, and in both of those models, our drug was at least, NV387 itself, was at least as good as the tecovirimat, the drug that is currently stockpiled.
Okay. Now, because obviously you mentioned that you've done a phase 1 clinical trial for safety and tolerability, that obviously
Yeah.
puts you ahead of the game as far as this is concerned. Because, I mean, the WHO has talked about this being an outbreak right now. So that puts you sort of ahead of everything with NV387, correct?
That's correct. And what happens is there is a protocol that WHO has developed for clinical trials of exploratory medicines when a pandemic or epidemic happens. It's called MURI, MEURI. I won't go into the full long form,
Yeah.
but basically, for a drug that has gone through phase 1 and has shown some efficacy in relevant animal models, it can be taken into directly real world clinical trials under certain constraints that for Mpox right now, NV387, we believe, fulfills all those constraints. So we are trying to contact the WHO, not quite WHO level right now yet, but the regional authorities, so to gauge their interest in being able to take NV387 into the theater and try to test it there.
Yeah, so that's really the next steps is to meet with the locals and see where that interest is at, and then potentially moving on if that's the case.
Yeah. So what happened there is actually tecovirimat, the drug I talked about, TPOXX, it
Yeah.
failed in clinical trial against Mpox. You might have seen that, and that was the clade 1. Clade 1 is more pathogenic, and but TPOXX is a small chemical, so it is very easy for it to escape and fail against viruses. So now there is absolutely nothing right now to treat mpox. Even this spreads around the world, there is nothing. If the clade 2 even, we don't know how well TPOXX does against it. So right now there is a complete open vacuum. There are no drugs, no antibodies, nothing. So NV387 is basically a very good potential opportunity for the world to take it forward.
All right. Well, we look forward to hearing more about this as it continues on. Dr. Dewan, thank you so much. Very interesting. And we'll talk again soon. Okay.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we'll
All right,
talk again.
Dr.
Take care.
Anil Dewan. He's the CEO of Nanovaricides.